There we go. It says we're live, 7:30. Sorry about that, y'all. We're running a few minutes late. As you can tell, I've had a I've had a day here, and it has been a Wednesday for the books. Definitely to start the year off with. Um, I'm still not liking these things, so I'm trying to get used to earphones. Um, and all I'm getting is a bunch of fuzz coming back through the headphones right now. So I don't know what's wrong with that. I think I'm just going to unplug them. I'm just waiting to see if somebody gets on just for a second, see how everything's running, see if I can get any kind of feedback into the headphones. Because right now I just got nothing, absolutely nothing. So, um, anyway, let's see. Wednesday. Big Ray is hustling, doing his work. Um, what he has to do, he's not having. He said he might be running a few minutes behind, so I delayed the show today half an hour. Like I said, I've had a Wednesday that's for the books itself. I hope everybody else's week is going well at this point. Hope you guys are having your new year off to a good start. Um, One of the things that we found is that the shop in front of us has been short staffed at the start of the year. So we've been running back and forth between our shop and the shop up front, trying to help them stay going. And I think that's what really about being in a community is all about. You know, you picking that other person up when they don't have enough to get there. Um, and I'm just going to put them down. Um, I guess if somebody comes on, I'll hear you through them. But um, yeah, we started off today or yesterday rather. We really got behind because we were running, helping the other shop. My whole day got kind of thrown off whack because of that. So I missed yesterday. So it's still so much going on, trying to settle into the new year and what's going on at the shop. Like I said, we've got a lot of projects coming through and things going on. And even now, we're still got a lot out there to take care of for the day's over with. So, but I wanted to take time, sit down, and continue to show up, be here every day. At least I'm making sure I'm always here on the Wednesdays. The weekly thing is something I'm definitely trying to put up in the schedule. I enjoyed doing the last couple of shows. They were short shows. I think I got an opportunity to talk about a lot of things that was on my heart and things that were, going on in my life. And even now, looking at the way the year is headed into, oh, trying to figure out, where, where this year is going to go forward, go on and go forward, and make sure that I don't use any wasted time on things that I don't need to take care of, and or things that I've just have to. Sometimes it's okay to not be, like I said, walk away from a few things and let go of some things in your life that you know how much you can handle and you know how much you can't. Stop. For me, it was about stop putting myself in positions where it was more than I could take on, and usually that was just trying to help too many people all at one time. And I said, as of late, it's been really nice because it seems like the people that come through are very understanding about time constraints and how long it's actually going to take to get the work done, and then what we're doing, as far as the cars are concerned, here in the shop. It's been fun though. Past couple of days, running up, changing oil, pulling the cars in, knock out a couple of cars, run back here, do a few things, wait for those cars to go out, wait for the next two to get checked in. So it's been a very interesting Wednesday. Time's kind of gone by. Time like yesterday, time went by pretty quick. Looks like we're going to get a visitor. Maybe we won't. Anyhow, so so tonight anyway, we're cutting it. I know we shortened it down, and I do like to be wrapped up by 8 o'clock because there's things in my own life. Like I said, I got to get to. It's um, learning to maintain everything. So to catch everybody up to speed from where things are at in life currently. Um, the female situation in my life has definitely changed. Back to being by myself. So I'm having to learn to do a few things that I was starting to depend on leaning on somebody else for. Um, Past couple days have been cold. It's been nice. I've been taking my dogs home with me, so there's been a little bit of normalcy that was missed out in the past few years in my own life. But looking forward to the shop, and I think what what uh, what we're gonna do this year. Overall, it's kind of strange because it's still the basis of the shop is just a place to make place to make an income and money, and everybody has to have a job. I figure, well, if I've got to work a job, it's the best one I can think of. Um, Outside is what you actually do with your time, and for me, most of my free time is spent um, going to the I've made sure that I've made it to the church. I've learned to help out. I've learned to be in the parking lot and have a good time hanging out in the parking lot, seeing people when they come in. Um, it's just it's one of those things that it's crazy because I see all the cars come in, then I walk inside, and there's still just way more people than I felt like I saw come into place. Um, and it's probably because most of the people who work behind the scenes, um, they call them the dream team, and that's something I think that's really cool about um, the organization that I go to church with, I guess, or I still trying to find the right words that are what we're supposed to say for that. But for the church that I attend, it seems like about half the people in the place are there for more than just showing up for the pastor on the stage and the maybe the worship singers, or maybe it's just to bring their kids in and sit down, or maybe it's just to appease a spouse and show up to church so they don't complain at you. But I, I think what's really cool is about half the people that I see every week as I've been to these meetings, they're involved in the behind the scenes. And I think that's something that's very important is um, that behind the scenes effort that those people put in takes out from their life, their personal life, their time away from their spouses and children, and I'm sure things that they probably should be doing for their own jobs or school or whatever. But they have this mentality that over the past few months has really helped out with me, and I'm it's something I like to share back with other people. Is just because yeah, it takes so much to make everything happen. Everything from this podcast to the simple things about day to day at the shop, or just the things we take for granted. It's a lot of people working behind the scenes who don't get seen and they don't get heard. Um, but they're not there doing it because they want to be seen or heard. And that's the really cool part is when you have people around you, and maybe it's not in your church, but maybe you have friends and family members that, they show up for you in times where they don't have to, you know, they don't have to have praise. They don't have to, some people, the only way you can get them to do anything is to tell them that there's going to be something involved for it, right? Like, um, I guess it'd be kind of silly, but to say like when kids are playing any kind of sport and they don't want to do it, it's like, well, at least you're going to get a trophy for showing up. Um, I can say this much about being a believer. Um, Getting saved is definitely the easy part, and it's not about saying saved, but it's about the work that you put in to grow your life once you choose to become a believer. And I'm certain that there's many people like myself who spent many years thinking we were doing the right thing, just to realize that we were constantly putting ourselves in a place of pain or hurt, or like life just wasn't going the right way. Like you ever know somebody like that, but I was that person, said I was doing right, felt like I was believing, that way for my own life too. And then realizing that everything that I would thought that I had believed was myself, uh, not really coming to the full truth of what the relationship with Jesus was like. And I was able to get there a couple of times in my life, but never for it's been a long time since I don't want to say never because that's a big word to say, but it's been a long time since I've been able to carry my life like this. And not that I'm carrying my life like this, but more that I'm choosing to get up and participate in my life being like this every day. Um, I like I like when people come into the shop and I get to share with them, um, my life, because most people walk in and they look at the place and think that everything's just great and dandy. And well, not that it's not mostly great and dandy, but it's taken a lot of years to get here. And sometimes, what you see on the outside isn't what you're going to get on the inside. And that's probably best known by, buying junkyard engines. They might look good from the outside, but once you get them back to the shop, they're not worth having. And I look around the world and I see a bunch of, and not just the world, but even in the church body, I see there's a lot of people out there who are, um, maybe we were told to fake it till we make it or something like that. And I think the faith it till you make it thing kind of come along too. And I think it's kind of to go along with it. Just, do it quietly and walk it. Your life will talk it all it needs to. If you just stay doing what you're supposed to be doing, keep your head down, make sure that you keep in mind that what you're doing is not, it's not particularly for another person, and you're not doing it for yourself. But when you put yourself in a position where you see each customer like Jesus, you want to do right, you want to do, you want to push yourself and do all things. It's a great way to help. Doesn't mean that everything's always going to go right either. There's always going to be some things that can go wrong. Um, but it definitely sets you up to be in a position where even in your failures, you're not going to see that. You're going to look past it and you'll see your success points. Um, and some days it's hard to feel like you're being successful. Some days it's hard to feel like you. I don't know. For me, some days some days, no matter, it feels like no matter how much I get done, I still end up at the end of the day, and I think, oh, man, I could have done a couple more things if I'd had only done a little bit more. And learning to, make that list and stick to it when we come into the shop, and it helps out with my day to day life. And I'm going to be probably one of the first people to tell you, like, I know I don't feel like I pray enough. I probably don't. Um, think I read enough. I probably don't. Because we can always do more. But I think it's something you have to be careful with too, because it said where your heart is poised and positioned at when you go into those times. Um, Not to say you just can't go in and read and get a lot of knowledge, but I know the times that I sit down and read, I like to make sure that I have that time for God to reveal Himself through the Word to me, and not just to sit down and say, "Well, I'm going to read this because I'm supposed to, and then I have to read this." Which those are good things too to help you practice. But sometimes just opening up the Word and saying, "You know what, God, um, just show me what you want me to know today." And when you feel like you do, still sit down, ask Him, "Is this for me? Is this for somebody else?" I mean, yes, it's for us, but is it something that He's meaning for you to share with others? Um, I guess it's all might be relatable to like, when if kids go places and the one parent or the parents are able to do a little more for a child than the other one is. um, I guess the straight truth of the matter is that when, just like the other day when somebody asked me, said you, or they said, you have that shop and those businesses, you must have money. And I stopped for a second. I said, I almost wanted to say no, I don't. And I heard inside me the Spirit speak and say, yeah, but I got my Father's money. And I thought that was the first time I'd ever felt like in my life that I could say that. Um, and not to feel like I'm just like so spoiled all of a sudden, but I thought, when I know as a parent, you want to be there for your child, and my parents have been there for me through my life, and has have others. But when it really comes down to it, and you need something big, and there's only one person that can give it to you, and for most of us, we've been pinned to that position where it is like our parents or our spouse or someone. But when you need something that's bigger than what they can give you, and that's what the relationship has been for me this year. It's more than the faults and failures of somebody deciding to say who I am or who I could be based on who I was. I think the greatest thing about a life of a believer is that you completely get to walk away from everything that happened to you. Like Doesn't mean it's a get out of jail free card, but it does mean as far as the repercussions and things that have happened to you, you might still suffer some things are still going to happen because you made bad choices. But it does mean that at this point, those choices won't last as long. You'll have grace going through the repercussions, but you also have a choice and a decision to make now, knowing that in the future, you don't have to suffer the same repercussions for your actions because you just simply won't make those choices. And I think that was one of the things I shared on Facebook yesterday, and I'm probably going to say it improperly, but it said I'm farther away from my mistakes today than I was from them yesterday. Um, and that's how it feels when you live your life through the eyes of grace. You know um, that no matter what is happening or what's going on, you start to let go of thinking that it's simply just your only simple small situation. And when you stop focusing on yourself so much and you start seeing the things that are around you and how much larger things are, um, you can start to get everything a little more in full view. It's like, you ever seen one of those pixelated pictures where if you focus in, you just see one little thing and then it starts to come back and everything looks kind of blurry and hazy for a second. But when you finally get back, all those little snippet pictures and everything they make up this beautiful portrait of something. And I'd like to think that that's the way God sees our life, because inside that portrait and coloring, there's little small spots where there's going to be dark pictures because there has to be some shading. And the reason for the shading is so that we can tell how the light is coming across it. And then you have other spots that are going to be real bright. But inside all of those pictures, my life, your life, there's these memories that we see. There's these moments. And even if those moments are played in motion, it's all of that together, that when you step outside it, it's God who sees the big picture. And no matter how far back from it we think that we've gotten, we're still not far enough back. I think it's one of the crazy things that when, especially if something happens and they say, wow, I can't believe that happened. And it's like, I want to look at it and say, wow, that happened. How much more can happen? How much more goodness can we see? Like, I mean, if this is what we got, I want to stand in astonishment for that moment. But it's like having your cup runneth over and it just stops and sits there for a second. I don't want to sit there and evaporate off till my cup is not moving anymore. I want that to come out and come through me, to be there for other people, to help other people, to show up, to be in community, get some oil on myself, like get dirty, help out my brother. Like, it's not what I did. I didn't go out there and do it today so I come back and talk about it on here, but it being there and in service for somebody else, I'm thinking, I keep walking up and people see the shop logo and they see the place in back and they see me up here changing oil and they're asking me what's going on. I say, hey man, we're just trying to give a hand. We're just trying to help the people out back here. And what was crazy is that meeting people who had brought their vehicles through, and normally we weren't getting those kind of customers or opportunity. And they say, hey, can I get a quote for this? Hey, can I get this small repair done for this? Can I get a little thing done for that? And the next thing I know, the day went by and it just kind of stacked up. And we have now more than I had to start with. And all I really did was walk away from where I was at and go help serve somebody else. And it's like that. It's like everything I've been through last year and all those, all the teachings and things that I went through Hope City. Like, I see that stuff coming alive in my life every day. Just by the simplest little choices of making decisions to do a few things differently. And it was really cool to have conversations with people today that normally wouldn't be my client or customer. And so what I thought maybe today was like a little dark spot because in my life, it just wasn't good enough for me. Looking on the grander scale of pictures, I'm hoping that that's somewhere inserted into my own portrait that God's painting of my life, that, because no matter how great it looks when you're close, and then when you back up and you see the mess, it's not because until that mess becomes full view that you see what God sees. And I think there's a lot of us walking around like that. And we openly admit, oh, I'm a mess. My life's a mess. Everything's a mess. Everything's a wreck. Next time you think about that, everything being a mess and being a wreck, think about that photo for a second. It might look distorted, trashed, no good, can't tell what it is. All of a sudden there was perfect focus and vision, and then it got blurry and you couldn't see it. God sees it. He knows. And you have to trust it as he's the one adjusting the camera angle to what you see. There's going to be many different portraits and things that he draws out with your life that you may never know. And again, like the pastor a couple 2 weeks ago or whatever, it's about a week ago. I mean, it feels like it's been years at this point, but I know it's been recent. But whatever he went through, like even his pain had purpose. Like I don't know what's going on. I still want to be the one person to tell him, say, hey man, I'm sorry you're going through what you're going through, but let me tell you something. While you were standing strong and you were standing up and doing what it was, like you got to get to somebody else that you probably never know. And that's the way each of our lives should be. We should live with the understanding of knowing that we are affecting others that maybe we don't see directly. Maybe there are people who we don't have direct interaction with, but we do have that much effect on them. And the thing is, it's having that effect on other people when it's not particularly about you and what you did, but it's about when, God has used you or used someone else in your life and put them in a position to where they came along and they were the one person who maybe they spoke reasoning. Maybe they had $5 extra in their pocket. Maybe they could give you a ride somewhere, but somewhere in that you also have the opportunity to have those conversations with other people and be that change instead of it just waiting to happen. I think so many people are still sitting around voting blue and red, and because so many people just want to, they're so stubborn in their own way. We don't want to. We're still not helping each other out. We have to start being a group of believers who actually believe. We have to have a life that's expressed that of what we are living, and that's something that's big time missing in our body and church, and it's reflected in our communities. Fight me on that one, but I mean, we have to, when we're doing better and we're doing more and we're walking in the right and we're being that light to other people and we're working inside our communities, we can see change. A lot of people want to stand up and be community organizers and get people just to get together to have them get backpacks. And I'm like, I don't want to get them to the point where we're just getting backpacks. I want to be to the point where these people have knowledge and they're trained to take on the world, not just take on the world, but I want to be able to, be cool to put people in a position where they don't feel so forced that they have to make some sort of choice. It's like, you can go to the military, you can go to college. I said that to my own kid, military, college, go live with your mom, bro. Like pick whatever you want, but you got to do something because you're 18. And then he turns around, looks at me and says, well, I just want to hang out with you. Fair enough. I didn't really want you to leave anyway. I just felt like that's what I was supposed to say to you. And that's something that me and him lived through. Like that's something that, I openly talk about and discuss. It's like that relationship between me and him helps me keep continuing to see myself the same way God sees me. And it's an understanding of grace and that relationship between me and him. And it helps to strengthen. And it's like before he ever came, it was the relationship that I had with my own father. And then when Dad was gone, it was the relationship I had with Jesus that had continued to set those foundations for me to build off of. That even while I walked around in a mistaken mind for my life for quite a few years, just trying to find my own way, after all these years, that the kids were, they're a witness back to me of God's grace in my own life. And I think for me, that's a very fortunate thing that I don't know if everybody really gets that or gets to have that, but I'm definitely thankful for that part of my life and that aspect too. Because I know there's days where me and him just don't see eye to eye. And I know there's days where I might be in the wrong, but I look at God and I don't see eye to eye with him about something for a minute. And what's crazy is that typically when we don't see eye to eye and we know that other person just has the more experience, we should probably trust that experience from them other people. Could save us a lot of time and trouble, effort, an extra 35 minutes of work today. But we also have to have that spot in ourselves where we're not afraid to go and try something new. And we have to you take something that maybe that we know and we have some knowledge about and go do something new with it. So I got a couple of minutes to close out here. So that's one of the things that I've personally chosen to do this year. So for the people that view the show, I finally signed up at the church to join a group, to lead a group. And I know there's a lot of places I want to go help out in. But as I sat and thought about having the opportunity to be able to communicate with a lot of people over a short amount of time, and what actually doesn't feel like such a short amount of time is that when you're involved, you ever notice that when you're involved, time just kind of flies by, and when you're sitting around stale and it's like time just takes forever. But when it's something that you want to do, that you're passionate about, and what's even crazier is that when they say like good times with friends go so much faster, it's because you don't focus on the time that you have. You focus on, or how much time on the clock, I guess, you have. You focus more about being in the moment. And when you're being there and you're present in the moment, that's where all the good times and the memories are shared. And friendships are made and bonded. And so I thought about, like, how do I get to be, what would I really, really want to do with a group of people that don't know me, or that I'm supposed to be helping, or and it's like, I have a lot of ideas. I have a lot of things that I can share with other people. And so I thought, what better than a drama team, and maybe just doing some small skits. Fingers crossed, hoping they let me pull off an Easter play at my campus. So I'll keep you informed on that. But I did ask for that last night. I did send the email to say, hey, I'd like to do something. It's going to take talking to a few more people than just a normal. I'm going to have a group at my house, and what Bible study curriculum we're going to go over. And I think because of the last year and everything I got to see and experience, inside that would be, having people who get together because they want to be together. It makes it easy on them because they're already where they are on Sunday afternoon. And growing up as a kid, it was like, man, I looked forward to the Easter play because I was fortunate enough to have a part. And I know that sometimes people don't always feel like they have that. Well, I guess over my life, I got a chance to have a couple of parts. So maybe I haven't always been afraid to speak loudly in a crowd. However, when you bring together 25 or 40 people and you spend time with them, and it's not that you're sitting there with your Bible open and having, Bible study. It's when two people are working together on building a macrochet rock, or they're painting scenery, or they're working on clothing together, because it's like everybody has to be involved. Like I always say, that's a full participation sport. Being a believer is a full participation sport. You have to be willing to participate if you're going to be a believer. You can't be a believer and just sit around and do nothing. And so in that, there's a lot of things that I think that some of the people I'm hoping that would be involved with it would be able to take time out, maybe find a new friend. And maybe that finding a new friend means they losing a friend that they don't need in their life anymore. I mean, he is the God that gives and takes away, right? I think I'd rather have God give me a good friend than take away a bad one, for sure. I guess I should be real careful. It doesn't mean that all people are bad, but yes, all people are innately bad. That's what the Word of God says. It's Christ that makes us better. So if I ever have to get questioned on that, that's my statement for it. We're all evil. We're all bad people. And that's why Jesus had to come to start with. Past that, because he came and we could have the play, kind of do a little throwback old school, bring some new stuff into it, show. It's like, I think for me, it's like showing people a side of Jesus in a way that maybe it's not been forgotten, but something that's been put aside for a while. And maybe it doesn't happen this year. Maybe it's not this year. But as far as for me, when they asked me if I could do it, if I was interested in being around people, I'm like, yes, but it's got to be fun, and it has to go somewhere. It can't go to nothing. I don't want to lead a class that has it's been nice to see you for 13 weeks. Maybe I'll see you later, maybe not. No, I'd rather jump in right from the start and make sure that I'm in the position where, we're forging friendships and learning who each other are. I know the more groups I went to, the more interaction I had with people, the more people I'd run into at church and be like, hey, I know you. Hey, I've seen you. And even though we got, two different service times, you start to notice and see a lot of people. And the more I've noticed and seen those people and stopped and we've had conversations, I know they're just like me. They've got loved ones just like me. They've got sons and daughters, friends, family, and not everybody around them is living the same life that they're trying to. But I know they're trying to be a shining example, and they're trying to be that light for others. And hopefully, hopefully some of those people will show up to maybe a play program like that too, and just have their lives changed. Maybe I'm praying this can happen, and we'll see quite a few people finally make that decision to not just stay on the path for a week or a month or 2 weeks, but get down that journey to where a year from now, they're a year in, and they're the ones talking about all the amazing things that God has brought them through. Because I know sometimes when I start talking about the things that are very successful in my life, I might talk about it being me, but I know it's never been me. It's me because God made me. It's me because God gave me talent. It's me because God did these things for me. But without having the opportunity to exercise those gifts that He's given me, build these cars, show people what I can really do, I wouldn't have all that. And I'm going to close on this. I heard last week something very profound. The individual said, hey, somebody took a chance on me. And today I don't know where I was at in the day, but I heard it. And they said, it only takes one person taking a chance on you to build a resume. Only takes one. If one person believes in your ability and skill, they'll tell somebody else about it. And you now have somebody who will vouch for the work you put in, for what it was. And regardless, wherever that is applicable to you, but I know what it meant to me. One of the things about the Bible is when Jesus talks about which of you losing, just one thing. And I think it's crazy the number Jesus puts to it is 100. And a lot of people will be like, well, let me make that crazy for you. If Jesus said, if one of you lost 100, and I said, hey, if you had $100 and you lost $1, what would you do? Some people look for it till they can find it, but it doesn't really matter that much. Take that same person who needs just $1 and they'll search underneath the couch cushions, in their car. That people will go to some extreme length if they just needed that $1. And that's the importance that gets lost when so many people are in a crowd. Is that how much just that one means? And no matter how big the crowd we're in, I've always liked to tell people, say, well, if you're looking for one, if there's 100, you have one. If there's 200, you have two. If there's 300, you have three. Pretty simple math, right? But that relationship with Him, with Jesus, is such a one-on-one basis thing. And sometimes we may feel like we're the $100 and we just lost a little bit of it, so it ain't that big a deal. And other times we're just down to that one thing that got lost. And it's the thing that matters most. And it matters more than anything else. That's exactly why I want to do the play this year. That's what I'm hoping for. And I said, if I can't this year, we'll find it out some other year. But it's to show people, get them away from their cell phone for a minute, set the noise down. It's not just a show, I asked my son, he said he still remembers it from when he was young. He said the hardest thing is sitting there in the crowd and seeing the face of somebody that you know and seeing them have interaction with Jesus. And I'm so thankful for those little small moments in my life where my children got to see that. I haven't had a chance to ask Allie. And I'm gonna wrap up, but it was cool because even in cleaning up all of my things and going through everything, after the breakup with Maggie, I didn't know if I was going to get my stuff back, and somewhere in my things, the original cassette tape from when we made it, when I had the ability to do that at Full Gospel Christian Center in Bright, Indiana, years and years ago. Everything kind of coming together all moment. I feel real heavy for that, and I'm hoping and praying that this is something that we can make happen. And when it does, I'd like to invite everybody from the viewing audience to come take a look at it. Like I say, because it's not something I'm doing, but it's this collective group of people that together bring together so much value that even on an individual basis, they have value when it's broken down, but they mean so much more when they're all brought together. And I can't think of any better way to try to want to go do anything than try to just spend time with people, getting to know them, and understanding the people around me that I'm working with. It's kind of hard to be able to go from, one to the other and not, if it's not enough to know each other's name on a name tag when we walk into work. That's not enough in the body. It's not enough in the body to show up and treat it like it's just McDonald's. We're just going to show up, flip the flyer, turn the fryers, serve a few people, toss some hamburgers out. Maybe we like them, maybe we don't, and we're going to go back about our day and we're done. That's not the right way to do this either. And what I'd like to see is that maybe the opportunity to do something and plan it in the spring. And hopefully as the year goes on, we'll see more people growing and get more involved, and maybe some other people like it and want to do their own thing too. I'm not saying we're at a spot where that old time religion is all we need, but I would say that old time Jesus is exactly what we need. And that's just the heart of the relationship with him. So that's pretty much my past couple days in a wrap. That's the big thing I'm hoping for. I think that's really cool. We still have the rest of the stuff in the shop, some cool builds coming in. I'm just loving my life every day. I'm loving the fact that I get to live free from what I was in a year ago. And tomorrow actually will mark the 1-year anniversary of us making a deal for the shop. So see if I can't find a few pictures and some things to share with everybody as we reminisce on how far we've actually come in 1 year. And I say that we, because it's not been myself. It's been an entire team. It's been God and Jesus and the Holy Spirit, and then a lot of friends and a lot of family members who love and support this. We have some great clients, and I'm still looking forward to even more. So as we close in on day 364, maybe this one is 365, I don't know. But tomorrow will mark 1 year for us getting into making the deal for the shop. And I think we'll spend some time on that one tomorrow. So let me pray for you guys, get you back to your day. I thank you for listening. Thank you for the time you've taken out. If there's something that you like, share, something you disagree with, please comment. Love to talk to you about that too. Because I'm not always right. I'm very open about that. I'm not the person doing it correctly all the time. I'm never perfect or anything else, but my desire, my hope, my faith, and everything is in the fact that as I follow him, he'll bring the right people in and take the people away that need to be taken away. And that, this is not just something it's not something I've done for nothing, but I know it's something that I'm doing for a purpose and a reason. So if it's you that needed it, I pray that God blesses you. I pray he opens up your heart. And if it's me that needs it, I hope he opens up my heart and lets me receive what I needed to receive for myself too. So gracious Heavenly Father, I thank you for today. I thank you for my friends. I thank you for my people who've stopped in and viewed. God, I just ask that you would go with everybody who hears this, Father. Just speak to us, speak to our hearts, God. Make yourself more real and known to each of us so that we can further and have a deeper communication and relationship with you so that we can share that with other people. And I thank you, God, that even in my worst days, you still love me. And Father, I pray that you would help me and keep me encouraged along with my friends, that even our best days that we remember It's not by our own strength, and it's nothing we've done except for it's all you. So until we see everybody again next time, Jesus, go with us, and I just pray that they be blessed in all things. Keep them safe. I love you. God bless you. In Jesus' name, amen. And I'm out, guys. I will see you tomorrow. Tomorrow, one year, 1 full year.